Yo, what's up? Bob here. Welcome to the Bob Bradley YouTube channel. Today I'm starting a new series of videos, records that sound great. We're going to be looking at records that a lot of care was taken in the recording process, and as a result they sound fantastic. I have a pretty nice hi-fi setup, and I know a lot of you do too. And if you have something like that, you're probably going to get to the point to where you're looking for records, recordings, if you will, that can kind of really showcase what your system can do. So I was out on the internet poking around looking for a definitive list of just great sounding records, audiophile quality, if you will. And there was some, but nothing that was really satisfactory to me. I think that there's probably some other records that sound great other than Dark Side of the Moon, okay? Don't get me wrong, that's a great sounding record, but my intention is to build a resource of records that I think sound fantastic here on the channel. So today we're going to get started with the first one, released October 1st, 1982. Donald Fagens the Nightfly. It's a classic record. Everybody knows Donald Fagen from Steely Dan fame. And we all know that Donald Fagen is rather particular when it comes to his recordings. All the Steely Dan records sound fantastic, and the Nightfly is no different. People celebrate the Nightfly for its clarity and just a very meticulous, presentation of the instrumentation, if you will. Now, a lot of people put a lot of stock into the format that this was recorded on. It was they used a 3M digital tape machine, whatever that is. But I can kind of explain it. In short, they used two different spools of tape, if you will. Digital tape is what they called it, to create a 16-bit signal, which was then converted to digital and blah, blah. It's very convoluted, but and not very dependable. I mean, before the recording session was over, they had to basically train up all the engineers on how to work on the machines. So, whatever. But what it allowed Donald Fagen to do was essentially do infinite takes without degrading the quality of the tape. And as we all know, with the Steely Dan band in particular, they would make musicians do take after take after take after take. They're legendarily known for this. And I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing, but they get excellent results from it. That said, you might read on the internet that it's, an all digital recording. You're talking about a bunch of analog instruments, tons of outboard gear, a huge console, probably a Neve console, just filled with tubes and analog, circuitry. There's probably analog compressors, and just a whole host of other gear involved in the production of this, and that's without even getting into the mastering. So, all digital recording, it was recorded in some type of a digital format, but I don't know how much stock I really put to the overall, that attributing to the overall sound quality of this record. I think more than likely it was because everything was overdubbed. So you had total separation. The bass tracks of this, a lot of them were done with one of the very first drum machines. So essentially they were starting with an isolated signal and then building the tracks around that. Okay. There were 31 musicians on this record. a killer's row, if you will. We're talking about Donald Fagen, obviously, Larry Carlton, Rick Derringer, Jeff Porcaro, James Gadsden, Steve Jordan, Chuck Rainey, Will Lee, the Brecker brothers. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. This thing, there's no way it could have been bad. Everybody on it is a fantastic musician. You know, the songs are pretty chill kind of tunes. You know, it's giving out those vibes, those kind of sexy nighttime vibes. You know, maybe like a sport coat. You're going out for a night on the town with a attractive companion. You know, maybe have a drink or something, a smoke or whatever. You got Fagen on the cover here. It's 4:09 a.m. on the clock, which is the time of the Nightfly, and he's got this old turntable that you know, it's got this fancy tone arm on it. He seems to be listening to Sonny Rollins. You can see a little Riverside label there. He's got a pack of smokes. You know, he's kind of a radio DJ here. And on the back, you got a house with his audience, one person awake in the middle of the night there. Mastered by Robert Ludwig. Also, the Sheffield Labs had a hand in it as well. So these are, as we know, audiophile institutions, and I'm sure that contributes to the wonderful sound on this record. It is on the Warner Brothers label here and is marked RL Master Disc. Also has the Sheffield Lab matrices on it as well. And you know, you get that like kind of a lot of Rhodes piano from Fagen with some type of probably MXR phaser or electroharmonics, small stone, which is also a phaser, and those are like really trademark and now like classic Rhodes piano sounds. The guitar tones are fantastic. Larry Carlton's almost on every track. Rick Derringer's on 3 tracks. There's an interesting thing going on where James Gadsden, if you don't know him, he is the drummer for Bill Withers a lot of times if you watch Bill Withers videos, where he plays kind of the basic drum beats, and then Jeff Porcaro plays the fills for whatever reason. I assume that they were replacing the drum machine tracks, and that's just how they did it. So, really interesting. The Brecker brothers play, you know, in fine form on this. Marcus Miller even plays on, I think, 3 tracks. I mean, it is. Will Lee's on 1. It's really, really a fantastic document, and it just sounds incredible. It's a very lush recording. So I would suggest it to anyone, and it is in fact the first in the series of records that sound great. Donald Fagens the Nightfly. It is the first record that came to mind when I thought about this series, and I think that it doesn't get much better than this when it comes to high quality recordings. So please like, subscribe, tell a friend, leave a comment down below. More of these videos to come. I have at least 10 records lined up for this, and I hope you guys enjoy them. So yeah, until we meet again, bob out.